Oh wow. Okay. Well, I'm gonna still do my thing. 313 Detroit love, the Motor City. Detroit love, can't nothing stop me. Detroit love, I love my city. Detroit love. I can't have my theme song. I gotta do it myself because I can't do that countdown, people. Welcome to another great episode of Middle Ground with JLE, L.L.C, where we treat you like family. That's the theme song from my first album, The JLE Experience. I own the music and copyright. Don't mute it on Facebook. It's the season finale of season 13. Had another amazing guest for you. We have fellow Wayne State University alum, Director of Workforce Development at Force Detroit, Heather L. Johnson Jacobs, LLMSW. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate sharing your story. First question, what led you to this path?
I would say what led me to this path of being a social worker and helping people. When I was a youth, I grew up, in the urban setting of Detroit. And as I was growing up, I had mental health issues. So in the course of having mental health issues, I would say, institutionalized for a point of time in my adolescence. Matter of fact, I was in Lafayette Clinic when John Engler closed Lafayette Clinic. So I was 2 weeks into my stay. I was 14 years old, and the state troopers came in and we were gone. They took us out of there. It was very inhumane. It was the dismantling of the mental health system in Michigan and across the country as we knew it. So, just being someone who's experienced having to depend on services, having to navigate in a space where you're dependent on other people and you're looking to people to give you something in a manner that is empathetic and not always receiving that. I always said, once I am able to do what I want to do and forge my path, whatever I do, however I do it, I'm going to make sure I do it with empathy and compassion and how I would like to receive it, as someone with lived experience.
I understand that. And you came a long way. Congrats. Because some people stay stuck there. So you fought through it. God is good.
It's a fight too. You got to fight with yourself, but you can do it.
Absolutely. So what is Force Detroit?
So Force Detroit is faithfully organizing for community empowerment. We are a crime violence intervention organization, a grassroots organization, and very much focused on crime prevention and decreasing crime in the city of Detroit, and very much engaged in communities who have been impacted by the trauma of gun violence, because it's trauma. So in my role there, I'm the Workforce Development Director. So in that capacity, when people are impacted by this type of trauma and they decide no longer to do those, you have to give them pathways to set them up for success. So as the Workforce Development Director with those wraparound services, you can't focus on anything unless you can have an income. And so, with that, we look to see if people need some kind of supportive services as it relates to, social and emotional support, because sometimes you need social and emotional support when you're impacted by trauma, you're coming from trauma. You need those other services that are going to ensure that you remain employed. So for me, that's my role there, to coordinate our workforce development program and ensure that our program participants have high quality vocational and educational services.
Wow. Y'all located downtown?
We're located kind of in the Corktown area of Detroit.
Oh yeah, that's that area. All that stuff over there.
Yeah, Honeybee Market. I love getting my Mexican food for lunch.
I ain't been. I had checked that spot out. Okay. Now, how you have spent time as a surge staff leader with CDC? How did that prepare you to get to this journey of it?
I think when I started working for the CDC, that was an amazing opportunity. Like, as a social worker, I never thought of social work and public health being in alignment, but it is very much in alignment. So when I started working there, it was actually at the point of COVID when they were trying to transition students back to classroom seats. So it was my responsibility to work with the liaisons that were actually working inside the health departments,
Okay.
working with some social workers. So that was just ensuring that all the safety protocols were adhered to when people were returning to school, and to try to cut down on a further outbreak. And so I think it brought me here because I'm a student at U of M School of Public Health. And so that job led me to, I always wanted to do something, outside of my master's degree, continually learn, because as I was growing up, my mother, she put in us all the time that education is the only way out of poverty. Education is that one thing someone can't take from you. So that stuck with me, and I'm still in the space of wanting to pursue my education and just learn. And when you learn, you can serve the people that you service better because you know more. You have more ability to build capacity, and know things in a practical way, and you know how to do that. So I think that's how the CDC role put me where I am now, and have a passion for public health and people's social determinants of health. So yeah, it was a wonderful experience. Wonderful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Man. We got away from the old school education.
Yeah, you have to. Like when I was growing up, my mom, and I will say, despite whatever we went through, the conversation was always, you go to elementary, middle, high school, college. College was always in the equation. It was never a time where she didn't discuss it. So I think it was so ingrained in me because that was her way of saying, this is what I can impart on you, and this is what you can do to sustain yourself. And I guess it kind of goes back why I love the role I am in now, because I can equip people and help people understand the value of education, because I can't understate that. You will always, I wouldn't be anywhere I am. I mean, networking is great. It's good to get out at the forefront, meet people, boots on the ground, grassroots, that kind of stuff. But my education has opened more doors for me than that. So I would get your education.
Now, how has Wayne State helped and molded you for everything you've been doing so far?
Well, I love Wayne State because I'm a D girl at heart. Okay, so going to a urban institution in the community where I grew up, seeing getting experiences outside of the four walls of my community. Wayne State was amazing. I was always at the DIA. I was always at the library. It really opened my mind and expanded me to other potential and possibilities I didn't know. Led me to interact with groups of people in my neighborhood or in my community I would not have, and it expanded my thinking. So I think that Wayne State was wonderful for that. And Wayne State I loved it because it was a melting pot, so it's an urban institution. So, you got some of everybody at Wayne State. So that was the beauty of it. All those different pieces fit together so nice. So, yeah.
And that was one thing when I went there that was great about it. When you did a group project at the end of the semester, you're going to be dealing with people that is not your race.
Exactly. Not your race, not your thought, not anything like where you came from, but you got to get together with this group of people and you got to come up with a good final project, because all your grades are dependent on that.
Yep.
So it has to make sense. So college and Wayne State taught me how the group dynamic works, how exactly what you're saying. You have to know how to work with people that are very different from you.
And it made you ask those questions
to them
that you wouldn't normally ask. Like, well, some groups I was in, like, okay, I don't really know no black people, but I have a question like, sure, what you want to know? Yeah. Okay. And then they start asking questions like, well, some of this propaganda, because
and those conversations are important. I'm going out of town and people will say, you're from Detroit, and they think I should have a bullet wound and okay. They do. But it's such a false narrative that the media creates about Detroit. I love Detroit. Like, I know our city has our issues, but I've always felt safe in Detroit. As they say, I'm good in any hood. So it never was like, oh, I'm scared. No, I love my city. Just like any urban landscape, you got pockets that you don't mess with, or you got pockets where it's gonna pop. But in general, I like to educate people, just like you're saying with the race with Detroit. No, it's come see us. You know.
Now I ain't gonna lie. When we beat up that terrorist on the plane years ago, that
Yeah.
just made the rep even worse. You remember that? What 2010? When
No.
the young dude had the little bomb in his pants on the plane going back to
Oh yeah,
Michigan,
yeah.
and they mopped him up.
Well, right. Well, okay, I won't say rightfully so, but they wanted to make it off that plane alive. Sometimes it's any means necessary.
And I was with new family, and they like, man, y'all don't play in Detroit. Like, man, they probably like, I'm going home, get this jack, get this food, see my people. I ain't got time for that food.
I ain't got time for that. You want to ruin your life? Don't ruin mine. I want to go
Exactly.
home.
We gonna team up for that comment go. Now, what is a macro social worker?
So in social work, you can go in two different tracks. So you can do micro social work. Micro social work, has its places typically when you're more of you working on the individual. So you might go see a therapist, you might go see a counselor. Macro social work speaks to the whole community. So instead of just focusing on you, I'm gonna look at mama, daddy, I'm gonna look at the school you go to, I'm gonna visit your home, I'm gonna see you in your environment, because in from the vantage point of a macro social worker, that's how I can work with you, because I can't look at you individually because there's different systems that are interplaying with you. So I got to look at everything. So that's that part of social work. And then micro is more, on the individual track. I'm looking at you as a person.
I mean, all superheroes, because people got problems.
Yeah.
I don't know who want to sit there and listen to all that.
You know what? Sometimes for me, it's not listening to problems. It's more engaging in the process of helping people figure out what they need. Sometimes I don't like to focus on the problems because you know what your problems are, right? But what solutions do you want? Where would you like to see yourself? How can we make a difference? So sometimes if you come from a deficit approach, you're going to be looking at problems. But I try to come from a strength perspective. So it's not so much of, let me look at, what's wrong. Nobody wants to show up and you tell me what's wrong with me. I know that, but help me draw out those things in me that are good.
That's awesome. Now I saw you as the director of the neighborhood service organization.
Yes.
What led you to that?
So what led me to that is I wanted to go on a different track in my career. I wanted to, at that point I was doing like a lot of program management, and I felt like professionally I had paid a lot of professional dues. I had a lot of roles. And so I felt like it was time for me to step into the direction of a director. And so that's what led me there. And so I really quickly realized that working in a housing first model and working with the chronically homeless, that's not for me. And I would say this to anyone who's in social work: you just need to know what you can work with, because you won't be effective if you're somewhere and you don't like your day-to-day work, or you're not committed to that wholeheartedly. You won't thrive, and you will burn yourself out. So for me, I just felt like I wanted to go in a different space than working with that particular population. And there are people out there that are rocking that out. It just wasn't me, and it wasn't for me.
Yeah, we need to do more for the homeless.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of mental health that goes along with people who are chronically homeless. It's a lot of supports that goes into that. And I say God bless the people who are doing it, because it's hard work.
You ain't lying. Even some of our veterans, unfortunately, that's out there.
Yeah, very much so.
We got too much money in this country.
Too much money for anybody to go without anything. That's correct. You are correct. It's a conscious choice.
Did you ever think about getting your doctorate?
A lot of people ask me that, and I just know I don't think about that, because it's a lot of money. It's a long time. And I feel like with what I'm pursuing now, it can have the same impact, like in a short amount of time. It's like going to trade school versus going to college, So I want to get what I need to get in a shorter amount of time, but still, have the tools that I need. But I think I know a lot of people who have pursued doctorates, and it's wonderful, but it is a big commitment. It's a huge commitment and a big undertaking that for me in my life right now, no, thank you.
You got to go outside a little bit.
No.
About to get warm.
Yeah. And I can't go outside if I'm in here. No. I'm good.
That was one of the downsides of going year round. Summertime, 85, you smell the barbecue, like count homework ain't gonna do itself, Jeff.
That's right. But you know what? Sometimes the sacrifice is worth the reward. So
yeah,
that's not a sacrifice that I'm willing to make at this point. But I'm happy where I am.
That's awesome. Oh, we're kind of running low here. I guess we're at the point for you to promote your show. I mean, what you have going on now.
Okay, so I just want to promote Force Detroit. They do a lot to support individuals to make sure they're getting the things that they need. So in that regard, we have the Secretary of State coming to our office.
Nice.
Yes, and I will forward you the flyer to share. It's February 25th, and it's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So when you're trying to, I won't even say for employment or educational purposes, but you have to have an ID just to have an everyday life, so that is crippling for people who don't have identification. So just supporting them in that regard, that first step to get to your education and your employment pathways. And, when you go to the doctor, pull out your health insurance cards, you got to have your ID. Your ID verifies who you are, so I don't want people walking through this world without an identity, so to speak, so supporting that. So that's one thing I do want to push.
Okay. Anything else going
on? No, we're always just working to support our community, and however that levels out, it levels out. But I will be sure to forward any other upcoming things that we have.
Okay.
But we do have something. You can purchase our T-shirt, and I should have wrote it down. I will forward that. You have a limited time to purchase our Force Detroit T-shirts. I think it's in commemoration of 313 Day. And if you're like me, a strong proponent for Detroit, this is something you're going to want to have to wear. So I will get that to you about our T-shirt kickoff.
Okay, absolutely. That sounds awesome. Anything else?
No, I think whatever questions that you have for me.
Okay. Now, my spidey sense tingling. You ever thought about writing a book?
You're funny.
It ain't never wrong.
And my husband will say this.
It ain't never wrong.
I have notepads all over the house because I'm a writer. When I say a writer, I'm going to take notes. Like I have started some stuff, but you know how you do that. Life happens, or you get a part where you just stop writing. I do that. I do some, and then I put it down, pick it up. But I'll be quite honest. That is something in the near future, maybe I would like to do, and I would like to do it on Black women and our mental health. That would be the focus, and I would have to incorporate something in there about getting your education. So those are things that are very dear to my heart. So yes, I would absolutely love to write a book.
Yeah, I published 4.
Okay.
It's an amazing experience when what you're forming in your mind, you put it to paper.
Oh, I love that.
Like when you get
finished product.
That's going to be a moment when you get done with your book. Like, wow.
I love that you said when I get done with my book. So you just put it from your lip to God's ear. Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We're going to come back and talk about it.
Oh, wow. And I will.
Absolutely. What has been your biggest challenge on your journey?
Self-doubt. I would say doubting yourself. I can't do that, or I'm not meant to be in that room, or not giving yourself full credit for, the things you do, but I would say more than anything is that self-doubt. It's not thinking you're good enough to do something, and I think sometimes for a Black woman, that's even more profound, just because of the space that we navigate in this country and, some of the challenges that we face. I think though, just overcoming that self-doubt and just convincing yourself, because I would say this, your mind can make or break you, and you have to train your mind to think a certain way sometimes, as hard as it can be. So I think just training your mind to know who you are and what you're capable of, and step into that, lean into that as much as possible. Even in my self-doubt, I still lean into that. I think that's a journey that we all will fight with forever.
Nah, you're right, because early I was having them type of thoughts like, man,
yeah,
this
we're our
ain't
own
working
biggest
out.
critic.
Man, I can just stop doing this. I'm sick and tired. Like, nope, that's what you call to do. Suck it up. Figure it out.
Whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable, you got to do it.
Mm-hmm. In your words, what has been your impact in the community?
I would say, in my words, what I hope my impact has been in the community is to help somebody remove that self-doubt, to help somebody know, okay, yeah, I'm good, I can do this. My beginnings might have been like this, but my journey doesn't have to continue that way. So I would say to give people hope and
awesome.
Know that you can do whatever you want to do. I mean, you everybody, and I know this is so cliche, but we all got the same 24 hours in a day. And sometimes like you have to push through it and make it happen. So I hope I've inspired somebody. Because I've been inspired. I tell you that I've been inspired by, I had a job that I was very inspired at, and I still keep up with some of my girls from there. I worked at Pathways Academy. It was a school for pregnant and parenting teens. And when I tell you, I learned so much about resilience and about just the love, just being a good parent, carrying a lot of burdens and things on you at a young age. I'm 46 years old and I'm a parent. And I'm telling you, I don't have all the answers. But to be a young person with things they were facing, and to see some of them now on Facebook, in school, doing good, awesome. Have jobs, have homes. That's a beautiful thing. So I think equally you're inspired by the people you work with.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people I listen to that try to motivate you to be better, they always kind of have the narrative, either someone is doing good, or look up to people that is doing what you want, compared to people that are stagnant. That's right. In your circle that don't even realize they're stagnant. They just cool with what they're doing.
Exactly. And sometimes there's nothing wrong with that, because a lot of things in our life, we've been cool with what we're doing until something happens and you got to do different.
Especially, and to me, in our community, people that are very creative, they not quick to tell people that, because they might say, "Oh man, you all whack, girl, what you talking about?" Or not everybody, but some.
You got to keep it to yourself. Sometimes it's just better, because nobody's gonna understand it like you understand it anyway. You know what I'm saying? And so you just have to rock it out sometime by yourself.
That's true, and I think that might be the part that made people fearful, but it's okay.
It's okay. Share it with God. He guides you, and that's what I do. Yeah.
Eventually your vengeance will come along. That'll be like, hey, I can add this to it. I can add that, but sometimes you got to start by yourself.
That's right.
Now I don't need that Yoda gang. What advice do you have for someone trying to find their purpose?
Always be open to constructive criticism. Always be honest with yourself. Always reflect inward. Always try to become a better version of yourself, no matter, because sometimes you got to tear down to build up. So sometimes, even if it's tough, even if you have to, have come to Jesus moments with yourself, just always work on you. You have to have those with yourself too. And just always, just be honest and all have goals, because that's, I don't know, I'm not the best person at writing my goals down, but I always speak it. I always say what I want to do. I'm always talking to my husband. We talk all the time. I'm always talking to him. This is the next level, Derek, or this is this, and I just talk. So just put those things in the atmosphere. Always talk about where you want to go next. Put it out there. Think positive thoughts. Don't think negative all the time. I always try, because it's not always easy, and I'm going to say that. But I would call my mother sometime, and I would say, Mom, I'm sad, or so and so. She said, I want you to sit on the bed, count your fingers, count your toes. What did you count? I said 10 fingers and 10 toes. She said, then you're blessed. So sometimes you got to take it bare bones of what I have that I should be happy or blessed for. So I think that's important too. Always count your blessings, no matter how minor or small, because they add up.
There's always somebody worse off than you.
It always is.
What is your first interview?
Yep, this is my first interview, and I've loved it, because it's giving me a chance to. This is growth. This is definitely growth, because I've never done this, and just to engage with you and learn more about you.
Yeah. As my sports co-host taught trash, like, you got all these titles, like, stuff you do.
The stuff you do, stuff you work at. That's right.
Did I reach my goal, or you felt comfortable?
I felt comfortable. I felt safe, like I was in a safe space to have a safe conversation, because I've never publicly, said my struggle with mental health or that kind of thing. But I wanted to come authentic. And if somebody sees this and they're struggling with anything, whether it's mental health, drug addiction, whatever it is, it's something that could be overcome. It's not easy, but like I said, you keep working with yourself and you stay in your head, you can get through anything.
Yeah, you did great. I mean, I felt the twinge, like, I don't think she meant to let that come out.
Yeah, I did.
Your daddy was a pastor.
It's a safe space to say it, and for a lot of time that was shameful for me. Like, who wants to say, "Oh my God," first thing people say, "Oh, they're crazy," or they count you out, or so you don't want to talk about it. That makes you uncomfortable, and sometimes when you say that, it makes people uncomfortable, because they feel like they have to navigate with you a certain way. No, just be regular. And I had to say it in terms of with mental health. If people have a heart issue, they take a heart disease. If you have, cancer, you take chemotherapy. You treat your body. So when you have a mental health defect, you take medicine sometimes to treat that, so you can have, the life that you want to have.
That is true. And I'll put that number up here while we're talking about it. Mental health help, call 988.
That's right.
Oh, there we go. Bam. Still got it.
That was quick. You was quick with it.
Yeah, because I know some shows I do, if we're talking about it alone, like, yeah, you might need to put that up there because someone's watching it might be going through something. Yeah. Like, I put my first book, I attempted suicide in high school. I never was going to tell that, but God has his way. He's like that.
That's right.
But it resonated with people I've met on Instagram that was in that same space, and it turned them around. So it really started showing me, you never know what you've been through, and you might not think it's nothing. It can help somebody else.
I want to go to my my website for Force, and I want to tell you exactly about the
Sure, go ahead.
I had it up. So it's 313 Day Rep Detroit support the movement. So you can get a shirt for, and I don't know if you all can see this. It's a Force Detroit shirt.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. We just had a rebrand of the logo, and um, so in honor of 313 Day this week, Force Detroit is dropping limited edition T-shirts that celebrate the spirit of our city, and every shirt sold helps us keep doing the work that matters the most. So you're supporting our organization, you're supporting crime intervention in communities, and you're supporting workforce development and wraparound services for, trauma impacted communities in the city of Detroit. So please support it.
Definitely, because that's people need that help.
Mm-hmm.
They really do.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you for sharing your story. It was an amazing guest.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking enough of me seriously to reach out to me and even, allowing me this platform and opportunity. I feel honored. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. When I be scrolling to connect with new people, I get a spidey sense. You should connect with them. And then I send them the thing to see if they want to be a guest.
Well, when I finish that book, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna
Oh,
discuss.
absolutely. We're gonna do that.
Yes.
So I want to thank fellow Wayne State University alum, Director of Workforce Development at Force Detroit, Heather L. Johnson Jacobs, LLMSW, for sharing her amazing story. Share it, watch it. If you got an issue with mental health, go get help. That's the number 988. And y'all enjoy the sunshine. Probably 70 tomorrow, I think.
And I'm gonna be out there in my garden. Okay, I got a lot to do. Yes, I do.
now I gotta do my intro in it because I ain't doing that crappy 30-second countdown crap. Can't do it.
Okay.
All right. That 313 Detroit raised me. Detroit's in me. Can't nothing stop me. 313 Detroit love the Motor City. Detroit love, can't nothing stop me. Detroit love, I love my city. Detroit love. All right, folks.
It's all Detroit love.
For sure. Y'all have a great night. Until next time, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bam.